like I said, I've been a great superstar all my life. I've been a boss player.
Salutations, family, and welcome back to Ride Along with the Storm. I've been pondering today just a real riveting issue on my mind, and it's the condition right now of the community where so many adult males don't want to be grown men. And it's very captivating to me in my mind when I look around and I see other men in their late 30s and 40s and even 50s who choose to still partake in this behavior and this certain stance on life, where they choose to still govern themselves and still play games in life like they're young adolescent boys. And it's a condition that I like to call Prepetual Adolescence. You got a lot of dudes right now in the community that are stuck in perpetual adolescence, and a lot of people think it's only boiling down to fashion and how men dress and how men present themselves, and that's not the case. Because I'm a gentleman, I go the gamut when it comes to fashion. You see me all the time. Sometimes I'm dressed down. I got on my athletic wear with my J's and my fitted caps on. The next day you see me and I'm in a three-piece suit dressed like an English gentleman with all the accoutrements. But what I'm speaking to right now and on this diatribe I'm going into is men who refuse to govern themselves and refuse to go through a maturation process where they conduct and they govern themselves like grown men. You see dudes out here, they run around in the community, they chase after young women, they argue, they continue to beef back and forth, they talking about they got ops. They're out here pretending like they're getting money, pretending like they're richer than what they are, instead of really just being stalwart gentlemen and just really being stand up and being true to who they are and really being men. When you try to become a man and you understand the maturation process of being a man, you have to understand stoicism. You have to understand solidarity, and you have to be comfortable with being in solitude in order to become a man. That's how you develop stoicism. Stoicism is part of our masculinity. And people think that stoicism is basically you being a strong, silent type and you sitting there and you not being able to articulate your emotions and your feelings, and that's not the case. Stoicism is a man being able to go within himself to find resolution, to be able to find results, to be able to find ideas, to be able to find knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and being able to comprehend life's challenges and life's adversities, and not only to help himself navigate through life's adversities, but the people around him also to be able to deal with their adversities throughout their life. That's the point of being a man. I remember back when I was growing up, I would see my uncles around, and especially my one uncle in particular, James. We used to call him Bug. His nickname was Bug. But I remember being young and being out in the projects, and we would be out running around and milling around and playing, on the weekend. And we would be at my grandmother's house, and my Uncle James used to always pull up. And he would always have his Cadillac or his Oldsmobile with the white walls on it, the Trues and Vogues, and he'll have them shine up. And he'll hop out in a fresh linen outfit or whatever outfit he chose for the day. But he always stayed fresh on the weekends because he was a working man. But on the weekend, he really put it on. And he would pull up in those projects, and all the women would be waving at him and, "Hey, James, how you doing?" And we would run over to him because we was elated to see our Uncle James. And he would always break us off a little bit of something for the ice cream truck and everything. But just the image of my uncle and him being fly and him being a real man and serving as a man, it left an indelible mark on my mind. And it made me want to aspire to be that type of dude. I was real young when my grandfather passed away, but I've heard stories about my grandfather, and I've even had other gentlemen who knew my grandfather who've seen me when I've been dressed up, and they relayed the same message. They're like, "Look, you're carrying on your grandfather's legacy, being impeccably dressed." They even joke with me. They be like, "You dress nice and all, but you ain't got nothing for your grandfather." And that kind of legacy and to be able to be part of that means the world to me, for real. And it lets you know that you're not in solitude. You're part of a larger group of individuals throughout history who you stand on the shoulders of. These guys are the foundation that you're built upon when you decide you're going to conduct yourself and you're going to act like a real man. Right now, I know it's real prevalent in society. Everybody wants to be young. Everybody wants to look young. And everybody thinks the end all and be all is to be young, to be forever young. It's like the Jay-Z song, Forever Young. But somebody has to set the example. Somebody has to go into maturity. Somebody has to be the elder statesman with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to impart on these young gentlemen. And I think one of the major problems right now in the black community, even with the high rates of violence and the high rates of criminality and incarceration, and all of these young men being introduced into the industrial prison complex, I think one of the main problem is these young men don't have role models. They don't have anything to look up to and aspire to, because they look around them and all of the dudes in their 30s, 40s, and 50s are dressed like them. They talk just like them, and they basically conduct themselves and act just like them. They use the same vernacular. They use the same colloquialisms. They use the same slang. Everything's the same between elder statesmen and these young punks running around. And I think that's one of the problems with the young dudes. The young dudes don't see anything to aspire to, so these young dudes don't see any future. They're already facing a society where their life expectancy is so low that, you know, it's almost nothing for these guys to look up to. But for us as older gentlemen to be out here acting like it's nothing and acting like we don't owe a responsibility to these young men to serve as a better example than what we're doing, it's just negligible, for real, family. And it's inconsiderate, and then it's despicable, really. And when you look at it and when it all boils down, family, we as older gentlemen and we as mature gentlemen, we gotta set some kind of standard as the stewards of the community and give these young men something to aspire to and something to look up to. That's one of the reasons that I jumped on social media, is because I wanted to come out here and just spit some game and see if it sticks for real. See if anybody gravitates to it, and see if anybody actually has any inclination of them. They're wanting to be older, wiser gentlemen out here that just really can drop knowledge, really, and bring something to the table other than perpetual adolescence in the black community. And that's all I'm basically seeing now is perpetual adolescence. We got grown men running around pretending to be late teens and early 20 boys when we should be setting a better example, and we really should be the standard bearers for our community. Family, that's going to be all for me, and that's basically my diatribe for this episode. Jump in the comments and let me know what you think about perpetual adolescence and the current state of older black men not wanting to be older black men and not wanting to be role models for these younger black men. Let me know what you think about the level of disrespect that older black men face from younger black men, and what do you think that is the result of. But that's going to be all for me, family. If you like episodes like this, please like, subscribe, hit your notification bell, and join me for every episode of Inside the Eye of the Storm, and also ride along with the storm. And I'm going to see you next time, family. Peace.
Like I said, I've been a superstar. And I got paid for what I knew. And I shared the game with them. So much guidance. That's what I did. They paid for knowledge.